I got to see newborns in the newborn nursery. And the love for babies isn't because the babies earned it. It's just a natural state that we have. Now, if it turns out our parents couldn't raise us, they were weird or whatever it was, that natural state of love is still there. And we can connect to it. It's transcendent. It crosses cultures and times. We can recognize it anywhere in the world and anywhere in time. It's real.
Welcome to the Healing Talk podcast. If you haven't been here before, thanks for stopping by. My name is Chuck, and today our guest is Schneebaum, MD. He is the author of Bigger Hearted, a retired pediatrician's prescription to living a happier life. So, what is the key to happiness? What is the key to longevity? Well, I think it's happiness is part of it. But we're going to really get into a lot of this talk about how and what it takes to be happy. So let me ask you, are you happy? Do you feel happy? Are you living in the moment? Are you living in the past? Well, sit back, have a listen, and please like, share, and comment. All your comments really help this channel grow, and that's what we want to do. We want to make this a community for all of us to share our stories. Before we get right into it, I'd like to remind you, if you're a pet owner or thinking about becoming a pet owner, please be responsible and have your pets spayed or neutered. Thanks.
What is it that you mean love? Is it love of self, or is it love, companionship love, or what is this love?
So the love that I talk about is what I call the heart's love. It's the kind of love that's non-possessive, it's uplifting, it's transcendent. You recognize it across cultures and across time. And it can be as simple as the love you feel for your dog or cat. It's not that they earn anything, it just touches a place inside of you. And one of the magical things about this thing called love is that I kind of picture it like an hourglass, where there's one part that faces outward. So as we see love in the world and act in a loving way, then it goes back to the center of the hourglass and feeds us. It also, on the other end, has spiritual interconnections. As we open ourselves to that, it feeds us and that place gets bigger. And when we live in that place, we're really strong. It's a funny thing. The scientific world will generally poo-poo it, but it's as real as anything physical. If a boulder dropped onto a rock, it would crush the rock. If we don't feel loved, it crushes the human psyche.
So is this something that we have to do consciously, or?
Well, it depends on your background and so on. So we shouldn't have to, but somehow that's our charge. So what I mean by that is a lot of us went through difficult childhoods. And the problem with that difficulty is we walked away feeling that we weren't loved, and even that we're not lovable. But if you had a supportive, lovely childhood where you knew you were loved, then you don't have to go through that step.
I do the
Yeah.
because it seems like what we're gonna also jump into is stop worrying so much kind of thing. It seems like this kind of really intertwines, and stress and everything else. Like you said, if you experience something at one time when you're younger, then you're going to have to make a conscious effort for this inner self type of love.
Yeah, and I describe it in the book, and it's there. It's real, no matter what our background was. I got to see newborns in the newborn nursery, and the love for babies isn't because the babies earned it. It's just a natural state that we have. Now, if it turns out our parents couldn't raise us, they were weird or whatever it was, that natural state of love is still there, and we can connect to it. It's transcendent. It crosses cultures and times. We can recognize it anywhere in the world and anywhere in time. It's real.
Yeah, this is going to sound silly, but you're right, because I haven't experienced seeing a newborn, I call it a fresh baby, but a puppy, yes. And whether it's a brand new puppy or just a puppy, and everyone, oh my gosh, we have that feeling.
Yeah. Now, if we then in life appreciate that is within everyone, not just the puppy, within everyone, and we greet them in that way, that's the beginning of incredible relationships.
We started there, and it sounds like that's the answer to everything.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So what I developed, what I realized is that we think in two different ways. We think with our intellect, and that's natural scientific thinking. And that kind of thinking really, in a way, protects us. So what I meant was, suppose you love to hike. And you love to hike because you're going to this beautiful place. You're climbing to this mountaintop. And what's driving you is the view from there is supposed to be incredible, and it's a great hike. Now, your intellect, to use it in this way, protects you. So it says, look, don't go too far over the cliff. Or I was once planning a solo backpacking trip, and I hadn't done it for years. And a woman in the shop said, don't back up when you take a picture. So that's our heart loves the beauty, but our intellect protects us. And so it's like we walk on 2 feet. We walk on our left foot and our right foot. And we decide, we're in the middle somehow, and we decide how much pressure to put on each. Do we run? Do we turn to the right? Do we turn to the left? And that's how we go through life. We go through life with our hearts and our minds.
Those are choices. We are given choices every single day for us to make.
It's just who we are. It's whether we open to our hearts. We're told it's a dog-eat-dog world. Excuse the reference to animals. But we're told it's not nice out there. That's a stilted view. It's lovely out there. We might have to protect ourselves, but if we meet people with love, we'll have a very different experience of life.
You're right. It's kind of like we're perpetuating what the negativity of something.
That's right. That's right. Because we're taught to think only scientifically, not with our hearts. So if we think with our hearts, suppose you're an educator. You think about caring about these kids. The reason you're educating them is you want to help them live their lives better. You want to give them information they might need or ways to meet life. But what leads it is you're caring for them. And if that didn't come across, then you're not a good teacher.
I do have a feeling, though, that this is something that majority of the people consciously have to well, I can't even say seek out, because I think a lot of them don't even know.
That's right. So let me tell you what I do. This is something you can do. I spend 10 minutes in the morning before I open my eyes. If I set my clock, I'll keep my eyes closed. And in those 10 minutes, I go over the day in 3 different ways. First, I'll look at it very briefly, and I'll think, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to change, I'm going to go to work, and so on. Then I look at it in an in-depth way. Okay, I'm going to get up and get ready, and I have the kids because my wife is leaving late. And so I'm taking the kids to school. I'm going to get breakfast for them. We have bagels, we have oatmeal, okay, we're good there, and so on. So you can think about practical realities. I have this podcast coming up. I want to make sure I have my lighting okay. I'm happy with that, and so on. Then we can do a third one after we go through the day. And just doing this, you can see you can get through stressful moments. You see how you'll get through those tough times. Then we add one more, and this one is the clincher. Then we say, how do I want to be in these situations? What kind of mood do I want to create with my kids around breakfast? Maybe this means I want to be focused on them, so I'm not going to look at my emails until I drop them off at school. And how do I want to be at the soccer game? I'm going to be there and with my kids, and my ex is going to be there with her new boyfriend. How do I want to handle that? So it's like, how do I want to be? And then what I'll do at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, just before I close my eyes, I'll look back quickly and see how I did. I'll start with where I am and look back over the day. I'll say, how did I do with that soccer game? How did I do with the kids and breakfast? What was it that tripped me up? And then the next day I'll get better. So if we live our lives to say, how do we get better? That's what we would do with anything that we care about. So why not do that with our lives?
It's almost like a daily mental vision board.
Yeah.
Now, at the close of the day, like I said, you go over this mentally again and kind of do a mental checklist. If we did not succeed at one of the things, or we left it unfulfilled, people probably have a hard time not dwelling on it. But should we tell ourselves, okay, we'll just go ahead and put that on the next day? If
Yeah,
to
we're
do.
looking at it to learn. Suppose you're a football team. A lot of teams now will look at films. They don't look at films to beat themselves up. They look at it to see, where did I miss that tackle? How do I want to do that better? Who is this guy? How do I face him next time? So it's to use our experience to learn, because of course we're not going to be great. An interesting thing that happens, Chuck, is that um, we grow. We want to have challenges. If you're a great musician, you don't want to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for your whole life. You want to play more complex stuff. So life gives. If you're an athlete, you want to play the toughest competition.
Right.
Of course, we're not going to succeed. That's what makes the game of life fun.
This is maybe slightly off, but I agree because I've always thought, and I think I've said it before on a podcast, where a perfect world makes for a dull life.
I heard you say that this morning. I was listening to some of your podcasts. Yeah, and that's not what the world gives us.
Right.
And then the only other thing we have to take home is when we don't succeed, we don't beat ourselves up. Suppose I want to get a job and I'm applying for this job and I don't get it. Then I think, okay, so what do I want to do now? I can spend a little bit of time going over it, maybe feeling bad, but then I say, what do I want to do now? That happened. Where do I want to go?
For folks who might have a hard time, a difficult time, doing this mentally, can it work just as well, be just as powerful if we write it down? I guess some might call it some sort of a diary or something.
Exactly. So for some folks, it can be through doing a diary kind of a thing, kind of like a journaling. Sometimes it can be taking a long walk and thinking these things through. Sometimes it can be talking with a friend or a therapist. But yeah, it's anywhere, or it's thinking about it while you're driving, while you're in the car, anywhere. Let me tell you another great thing to do, a great exercise.
Oh yeah, yes.
In terms of love. How do we get this feeling of love built up inside of us? Suppose we didn't have a lot. So this is another thing that I do when I do my morning exercise and the evening one. I'll start by picturing a time when I felt love, the experience of love. It could be petting my dog or cat, or it could be my grandma giving me cookies when I was 3 years old. And so what I do is I'll feel that feeling of love, and then over time start to shade away all the things that brought it, and just hold on to that feeling. And then fill myself with that feeling in the morning and in the evening. I could do it during the day also, but I'll spend time to fill myself with love.
Could this help also? Because if we are not feeling enough of that love, to somehow share it. And when I say share it, I mean just, have that feeling that you get if you're walking down the street and you wave or you smile at somebody and they wave or smile back, and it could be a stranger, and you get that warm feeling. Could that help?
Totally, totally. Any place where you're living in the space of love, you feel better.
Okay.
There was a mom in my practice who was a single mom. I believe she'd gone through a lot of drug and alcohol rehab stuff in her day, and she had a 5-year-old as a single mom. And this was the most active kid I'd ever seen in my life. And this mom was great with her. She really was great. And one day I said to her, you're such a good mom. You're terrific with her. She got teary-eyed and said nobody had ever complimented me in my entire life. Now, I tell that story because I felt better. I didn't do it because I wanted to feel better, but that's what happened. When we speak out of love and act out of love, we feel better.
We've heard this saying before, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
true.
You want to hear a cool thing with that?
Yes.
It's obvious that happiness can't be an object. That doesn't mean we can't like them. We can have a new car and love it. But as the novelty wears off, then we get back to who we were. And it's also not an object because two people could have the same apartment and it doesn't bring them the same amount of happiness. It's not like a container that holds a certain amount of liquid. So what is it that's the difference? It's the attitude we bring.
Yeah.
So if we bring that attitude to life, then we'll enjoy life. That's why you enjoy life.
It's all about positivity.
Yeah, and it's
And
knowing we're going to make mistakes. It's not about our mistakes. So that's where the two sides of the world are. There's the practical world. In the practical world, we have to do unbelievable numbers of things. We have to be a friend. We have to be a podcast host. We have to be an engineer if we're being a podcast host. We have to figure out how to get guests. Nobody ever trained us in these things. So we're going to succeed as we get better, but we can't mark ourselves by that. Now, there's a hook in another way. Suppose somebody is great. We shouldn't think that we're better than anyone else because we're great. So I could be like the best performer in the world, but when I go home to my toddler, they don't care that I just did a great concert. My dog doesn't care. They just want me to be nice to them. So we can be great where we're great, but then drop that and be just a human being.
yeah, I think on the flip side, that goes with, how did I want to phrase this? It's we are no worse than somebody else. In general terms, there are some
Yeah.
bad people, but we are no worse. Like I said, we're human beings. We're all alike.
Yeah, that's it. We're all muddling through this thing, trying to get through to the other end, whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all of this stuff really goes into this. Less stress makes you happy as well. So if you make these positive choices and look at things as not a failure, not a mistake, it's just a learning experience, and keep that smile on your face, there will be less stress, I think, for us.
Exactly. Because, if I'm present and nothing else is on my mind, that is the best situation for me to be at my best.
Yeah.
There was a book that was popular way back in the 60s called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And this guy described how his engine failed. He had to take it apart. And then as he was taking it apart, a screw broke. He said most of the time people would get upset and they'd throw their wrench down and so on. He said, no, now I just have a new problem. Now I have to get out a broken screw.
That's true. It's look at it as, oh, I got a new problem. Just got to work on that one.
Now let me throw out another one. This one is really nuts. This one takes it to the next level. If love is with us, so love is built into us. Suppose you're sitting next to a little old lady who drops her bag with her groceries. You don't say, wait a second, I have to put on my compassion suit and then I can help you. No, you just do it.
Yeah.
So it's in us. Now, a trick that I've discovered, a thing that I worked on was, if love is with us, another side of love is wisdom. When you treat your dogs or your cats, are you more a cat person or a dog person?
I'm a dog person. More.
So when you treat your dog, you use wisdom. You don't just give the dogs whatever they want. You give them what you know is good for them.
Yeah.
And if love is built into us, imagine this. Imagine that wisdom is built into us. And that means that wherever we are, love is there, so we're not alone, and wisdom is there, so we're in the exact right spot. Once you know you're in the exact right spot, then you're free, then you're not worried.
Boy, it's still, so many people have this mental block or this hesitancy. Somewhere in their growing up time frame, they were told not to or something like that, but I think all of us hesitate. Even that example that you said, I'll just, not even an elderly person, but somebody drops something. I know that 9 out of 10 people think about, oh, I'll pick it up for them, but then you stop yourself and you just pull back and you wait for them to get it.
And then the simple thing is to look and say, did that work? I did it that way. If it came up again, would I want to do it that way again? Mm-hmm. If you thought yes, then do it that way again. Yeah. But if you think, no, there's a better way, do the better way.
Well, again, we're learning every day.
Yeah, that's what it's about. So suppose you're a world-class guitarist. You're still learning every day. There was a guy, Pablo Casals, who was a world-class cellist. And when he was 95, a reporter said to him, Mr. Casals, you still practice 6 hours a day. Why? And he said, I think I'm getting better. Because the way it works is whatever is going to happen to you later today never happened before.
Yeah.
So you have to be there in the moment and do your best, and you learn from it.
Well, I like that other thing that you just now said, in the moment. And, we need to live in the moment. But again, is it wrong to plan out your day mentally and to follow it that way? Or kind of like what you were saying at the beginning is, you get up in the morning before you open your eyes and get out of bed type of thing. You mentally run through, this is the type of person I'm going to be and all that. We envision that, but is it bad to all of a sudden just totally stick with it? Or
There's a fascinating thing with structure and reality. So let me answer that two ways. A grandpa in my practice told me that he was going fishing with his 4-year-old. And the kid was excited. They got all their rods ready and so on. It turns out it was a very long trip. And by the time they got to the lake, the kid didn't want to fish anymore. He wanted to play and catch butterflies. And the grandpa said, was it wrong that I went to play with him? I thought, the idea of sticking to it has an age-related thing. It could be when he's 17, you say, look, it would be fun to chase butterflies, but we're bringing home dinner, to the rest of the family. We can't.
yeah,
But as a 4-year-old, to say, yeah, let me follow the 4-year-old, of course he's not interested anymore. We just had this long drive.
that all makes sense. And I think at no matter what age we are, if we allow change and go with the flow.
Yeah, it's both though. Suppose you have a date and you really care about this person that you have the date with. It's really special. So you plan the restaurant you go to, what you're going to wear, everything. But then when you get there, it's all about being present and being in the moment. Somebody could over worry about planning their wedding, and they could do all the planning, and that could be great. But it's only fun if they then drop it and live in the enjoyment of the wedding.
Yeah. So much of what you're saying pertains to everything in life. I mean, just now what you're saying, I just was thinking about vacations and trip and how people nowadays want to record everything, and they're, I'll say ever since the video camera really came up, and this is what they're doing. They're looking through this little viewfinder, and they're not experiencing. They're not in the moment.
Yeah.
So
So enjoy it.
yeah. So what I'm getting at on that too is, don't have those blinders on all the time. Just like with the question I asked about, well, is it okay to kind of veer from your, mental thought when you wake up? And like I said, of course it is.
Yeah, that's it. So while I describe this routine, I don't stick to it quite the way I described. I do a version of it, but it's what works for me now. I describe it as I do because that can help people that are just starting because it's very structured.
Yes. And I'm doing the yes because it really does make sense.
Yeah. And then don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes. I had this interesting experience recently. I went out in the morning and saw that my trunk was open and it had poured during the night. And when this trunk is open, it's at a 90-degree angle. It's like straight up. I didn't have a speck of being upset with myself. I just looked at the trunk. I saw there was a plastic bag that had a puddle of water, so I emptied that. I tried damping out a little bit of what was there. And then I said to myself, it's supposed to be sunny later. Let me remember to open my trunk so it can air out and not get mildewy. Now, if I looked at that and said, suppose I got mad at myself, what would that have given me? If it was to drive home the point that what I did was stupid, I should leave my trunk open, thank you, I know that one. I didn't need that, so what's the point?
Yeah.
And then where it gets really interesting is suppose now it was my spouse or my kid that had done that. Would getting mad at them have helped?
Nope.
Yeah, it's just appreciating life and going with the flow.
And anger takes more energy and drains you of that energy than happiness does. It's like happiness feeds your energy, anger draws it out of you.
Yeah, so when you realize it doesn't work, why do it?
Yeah.
The other one, when you start to peel it back, love is a simple one. You see that it helps. When we get angry, it usually doesn't work. I saw a kid in my practice who came in with a swollen hand, and the top of his hand was kind of black and blue, and I knew it was because he punched something. It's called a Box's fracture. He probably had, and he did. And in teenage boys, that happens when you break up with your girlfriend. It's just what happens. So I said, "Is that what happened?" He said, "Yeah." So I said, "Listen, he tried breaking up. His girlfriend broke up with him. He tried talking her out of it. She wouldn't have it. He got frustrated and punched his locker." So I said, "That was a great plan. It only had a couple of pitfalls. Your locker didn't care. It didn't care that you punched it. Your hand did. It's not happy. And I don't think your girlfriend looked back at you and said, 'Wow, he punched his locker for me. That's my kind of guy. I'm going back to him.'" So if it doesn't work, we need a better plan. If you jam on your horn in the parking lot when somebody cuts you off, they're not going to get out of the car and say, "I am so sorry I cut you off. I'm so glad you honked at me. That was brilliant. I apologize. I will never drive that way again." That doesn't happen.
Nope.
Just everybody in the car gets mad. So why do it? Now, if we look at emotions, great emotions are easy. If we walked into a football stadium and everybody cheered for us, we'd feel pretty good. It's not rocket science. Difficult emotions happen when the world doesn't go the way we want it to go. So then reassess our approach. We don't have to get angry. We don't have to get frustrated. We don't have to get mad. We can say, how do we want to handle this thing?
I'm in the conversation with you right now. Everything is so logical. Everything is so simple, yet the choices we make it difficult.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wrote the book.
Yeah. Remind us all once again the name of the book and where they can find the book.
So the book is called Bigger Hearted, a retired pediatrician's prescriptions for living a happier life. And it goes through all these steps. It includes how to worry less, how to not get frustrated, how to have better relationships.
Yeah, and a lot of what we're talking about is covering all of that right now. If there was two things out of all this that would help people get started, what two things would you say will get the person started in the right direction? And now I'm feeling wrong for saying the right direction because it may not be the right direction for certain individuals. But
I was sitting at a concert the other day, and it was a theater thing, and it was an afternoon. I said to myself, what would make people happier? Like if I could give them one word, what would make them happier? I thought, if they all were kinder to each other. So that's one thing we can do right away. I was at another place. I was at a museum in New York, and I again had that thought. I don't know where I get these thoughts, but I again had that thought. And I said, if everybody appreciated, they have a piece of the heavenly inside of them, and it's inside of everyone else and everything in nature. How differently would you treat things if you knew a piece of the heavenly lived inside of you and the people around you? And then one last thing let me throw in.
Sure.
This has to do with a kind of forgiveness that I call everyday forgiveness. Our shortcomings commonly came through our upbringing. You know, I saw all kinds of things happen from that. Now we can appreciate that everyone we meet who talks too much, who doesn't listen, who's cranky, whatever, they went through those same things. Just forgive them, see past their shortcomings, and look at the present inside the wrapping paper. Don't get lost in the wrapping paper.
Yes. I'm nodding my head yes. Okay. You've left me kind of speechless at this because my mind, I'm listening to you, I'm hearing the words, but I'm thinking of myself, why is it so difficult? Why are we all having such a difficult time, really understanding this and making it work, making it happen?
There are two parts to say with that. One is, I don't think this information is out there. I think I wrote my book because I just didn't hear it or see it anywhere else. The other part is things take practice. Suppose you want to be a good swimmer, you want to be a good guitarist, you want to be whatever you want to be. it doesn't happen that you think, oh, I want to be a good guitarist, and tomorrow I'm a great guitarist. It's not how it works. So of course it's not going to work with this. But enjoy the ride. The part that's cool. This is really another very interesting thing, Chuck. Suppose you are a painter or a drawer, and you kind of like you just started, and you really enjoy it, and you enjoy learning. You can go to a museum and see a Van Gogh, and you don't feel envious. You enjoy seeing what they do. So we can grow and learn and not judge ourselves by others' successes and others being better at us.
Yes, and it is more important today, I think, to keep that in mind, uh, especially for younger kids. And I'm talking about this comparison to others, because I think a lot of times people try to compare themselves to somebody else, and
Yeah.
we put ourselves down and say we're
Yeah.
not as good as.
Yeah. Now, a part that's interesting, if I was 6'2" and strong and handsome, an incredible athlete, my life would have been completely different.
Hmm.
But that doesn't make it better or worse. I'm where I am, and I get to play my cards. I think Mark Twain once said, in life, it doesn't matter the cards that you dealt, it's how you play them. So if I think there's wisdom in me, there's wisdom in the way I see the world the way I do. So let me find that wisdom and live out of it.
It's Again, it's so simple, but we need to, like I said, it's practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Wake up in the mornings, do what Ron was saying earlier is, kind of have that thought. Picture yourself being a good person to your kids or your wife or your husband. Picture going out to dinner, or picture a night at home having pizza and watching TV, whatever it might be. And again, it can change.
Yeah, and learn from where it didn't go well. If you're a relief pitcher and you just threw this pitch, it was a home run and you lost the game. The part that's incredible is you have to go back next time and say, how did I make a mistake there? What should I have done? Because we're not going to be perfect. And so on the one hand, know that out of this space of love, we're perfect as we are. Out of the physical world, we're filled with imperfections. And so it's accepting both of those and not holding those imperfections in the physical world as connected to who we really are.
I think that's the most important thing this sounds bad. I think that's the most important thing you've said today. But that is very, very important. We are perfect as who we are, but we can always learn and get better on the outside world.
Yeah, that's it. We're totally imperfect there. Now, another interesting thing, in the outside world, if we want to get better at something, we develop a plan. I want to get stronger, I develop a workout plan. I want to get smarter, I develop an education plan. Now, in the inside world of feeling loved, we can't develop the same kind of plan. We can't reach for it and grab it because it's not ours to grab. Instead, it's opening the space for it. It's doing the inner work that allows it to come in. It's like opening the curtains and letting the sun shine into the room. So in what places could you have opened the curtains more today? Where could you have been more patient? Where could you have been more kind? Where could you have been more loving?
Once again, this is how we make our lives better, and in turn it makes everyone else's lives better and more enjoyable that's around us, and it can exponentially just spread out all over the world.
Yeah. And then when you add your intelligence to it, and then you think, suppose I'm a school teacher. What I notice is that recognizing kids is good. How do I build that into my program? How do I live in that so I can become a better teacher? And then maybe I develop an idea and I say, hey, let's institute this in our whole school. Let's institute it in our district. So that you not only learn, but then you share what you learned to make the world a better place.
Yep. There's so many key points that you're saying, and every time I hear you say a particular word, I'm like, that's the word. That's the word. Share. That's the word.
Yeah. So my book is now in an audiobook form. So nobody has a reason to not get it.
Who's reading it? Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you are great.
It was so hard to do.
Oh, I bet. Well, everybody's listening and having this, their brains are going. So I want to remind them once again, Bigger Hearted, a physician's prescription for living a happier life is the name of your book. The main part is Bigger Hearted, and the physician's part is the sub on there. And you're going to
And
have
biggerhearted.com is the website.
and I'll make sure that we have that in the show notes. And you know, you did me good, but you did me wrong, because now you know what I'm thinking. It's Ron Snowtree.
Exactly.
It's
My mother, after my father had died, my mother once said to me, "So how do you pronounce it?"
well, I guess I can't laugh about that because that's probably true.
Yeah, well, you cheated. Chuck Tuck. Anybody can do that.
Yes. A lot of words that rhyme with it, and I'll just take it as a joke.
Exactly. Kids are cruel no matter what your name is when you're small.
Yeah, and you know, Ron, doctor, it stuck in my head exactly how I said it to myself with your last name, Schneebaum, but it's not bomb. It's
Baum is a little fancier, yeah.
yeah,
If you get the Schnee, though, you're home. You're good.
Schneebaum. There
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
SCHN. Is there two E's?
Yes, two E's.
Okay, we'll make sure that I have everything correct in the show notes. I want to also add, before we close out on this, is that you had said that this is kind of like, it's not a thing that you do one day and you're perfect and you're done. You live it and you do it every single day. Practice makes perfect, and pretty soon, I think, even with that thing about waking up and before you get out of bed, you run through certain things in your head. I think when you're first starting, you're consciously doing it, but
Yeah.
when you get used to it, you subconsciously end up
Yeah.
doing
And you
it.
do it because you love it. There's a writer, Malcolm Gladwell, and he developed what he called his 10,000 hour rule.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked to the Beatles and Bill Gates, and he said, once you practice for 10,000 hours, then you develop expertise in this thing. So he said the Beatles played in Germany in small clubs and England in small clubs. Bill Gates did all kinds of programming before he developed Microsoft. And then they were ready for the big time. So if we work on ourselves, you keep feeling better and getting better at this stuff. It's really true. It's really incredible. You can develop real expertise. The goal is to be yourself. What's interesting is a ball player, to be good, has to work at it and work at it and work at it, but they have to have some talent to do that. The only talent we need is to be ourselves.
Yeah. Well, everybody heard it. Be yourself. So, you've kicked my day off. I feel good.
I'm so glad we had the conversation because I was trusting that you would guide it and do that well, and I think you did.
And I've rebounded right from everything you were saying, and I think we were passing the ball back and forth. You had some fantastic information, so I know for a fact that so many people are going to get something out of this. So I wanted to give you a personal thank you, so thank you.
You bet. Now, at my website, I do workshops for veterans with PTSD, and those are free of charge. I do workshops for parents, especially of toddlers. I do workshops for people that read the book that really want to incorporate the ideas into their lives, and also for physicians who are facing burnout.
Wow, all of which is so important, and all of which so many people are going through.
Yeah, and also for young people, for people from 16 to 25, it's open-ended conversations, and those are completely free.
That's my three-letter word is wow, with the exclamation mark. Thank you very much for doing all that service for people.
It's my pleasure. It's my way of giving back.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready to go start my day and be happy. And I'm going to do my best to, put a smile on somebody else's face, too.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
So, in all seriousness, this has really been a lot of fun, and it's just refreshed my mind and given me that confirmation of being nice to people actually helps me.
Yeah. That's the mystery.
Hmm.
Not too much. You don't want to deplete yourself, but the right amount.
Yep, I'll keep it right there at the right amount. Ron, I hope you don't mind me calling you Ron,
No.
Doctor Ron. And thank you very much again. Thank you.
That was my pleasure. Thank you.